Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Entertainment YouTube channel. I'm Antonio, and today I'm going to share my opinion for the best harem anime. Now, I know the harem anime genre isn't exactly known for the best quality, but there are some decent animes out there. I put timestamps in the majority of the list down in the description so you can skip around. So I'll start off by showing you how I'm going to rate each anime. There are currently 6 categories that I rate from 1 to 10. These categories are things like the graphics and art style, the characters, this includes the character consistencies and the character development, plot, so this will be like the events that happen in the anime, uniqueness, so is the anime unique or is it super cliche and boring? Fan service, now I didn't really want to add this category, but we are talking about the harem genre, but to be fair, this doesn't really mean much. So even if I put the points really high, it won't change the outcome of the rank of it. It's just more of something to let the viewers know how much fan service is in the anime. The last category is enjoyment. So my enjoyment of the anime. For example, some animes are pretty ridiculous and don't have much of a great plot, but they're still enjoyable in my opinion. This will make the biggest effect in rating. After all, this is my personal list. So I'm going to show you guys how many points I give each anime, my thoughts on it, what the anime is about, and then I'm going to show clips of it. The 11th anime on the list is The Testament of Sister New Devil. This anime is a big copy of another one actually, High School DxD. So I put the uniqueness of the anime at the lowest on this list at 3. This anime has pretty good graphics during the fight scenes, which makes it kind of nice to watch. It also has other nice graphics if you know what I mean. You should probably not watch this if you don't own a pair of headphones, and definitely you shouldn't watch on your TV in the living room unless you live alone. This anime is pretty much borderline hentai, which might make you ask yourself, why didn't I watch this sooner? And but it is honestly kind of hard to watch with so many perverted scenes and so many scenes with nudity and so much fan service. But I mean, if that's what you look for in an anime, this is definitely the one for you. There are 2 versions of the anime, one is censored and one is uncensored. The censored version is actually kind of hard to watch because there's so much nudity in the anime that you have white streaks going all over the place like this because of how much nudity there is. The characters in this anime aren't too special, and I feel like the only thing I looked forward to was seeing Basara Toju learning how to use the power that haunted him to do what he feels right and protect the demon lord's daughter, even if it means going against the hero clan that he got exiled from. One thing that I found kind of weird near the end of the anime was Toju Basara and his father's character inconsistency. Now, I didn't watch the 2nd season, so I'm not sure if it's leading to something else. So number 10 is Haganai. Now remember that every anime on this list is decent, so don't get too defensive. I know that it's super highly rated on websites like Anime List, but I didn't like it because of the genre of slice of life, which isn't exactly my favorite category, especially if it's a harem. I know it kind of sucks because of that reason, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other anime. It's still a good anime, and I think you guys might enjoy it, especially if you're more into the slice of life genre. Number 10 is Rosario Vampire. This anime is kind of one of the OG harems, with the manga being published in 2004 and the anime adaptation in 2008, which makes this the oldest anime on this list. The anime plot is pretty good and puts you on the edge of your seat sometimes, trying to see if the main character, Tsukune Ano, gets caught for being a human and the struggles he goes through in the anime. But in all honesty, I do have a huge soft spot for this anime due to the awesome manga. Now, I think the anime adaptation isn't as good as the manga, and if you haven't seen the manga, I would definitely take the time to look at it. The main downsides to this anime are that it becomes more repetitive, and the show becomes more of a fan service than an actual anime, especially when comparing it to the manga. I hope this anime gets redone to be more like the manga in the future, but I can dream, right? So number 8 is Campione. Now, this anime is definitely one of the most underrated anime on this list, and is currently the most unpopular anime on this list according to my anime list. and I think they did some things better than the anime above this one, which is Strike the Blood. The things I think they did better was include a graphic that showed Godo's powers / avatars, which I liked because it shows all the powers, and each power has limitations and conditions that need to be met in order to use each one. For example, the Golden Sword power can only be used if he knows enough about the god he faces and the history behind him. He can also use only a power once in 24 hours, so he needs to use each one wisely. I also like the art with each power he uses. Now I think they could have made it a little bit better because most of them is just an aura with exceptions like the Golden Sword. Some of the enemies are also better, like Sasha Vauban, whom you get to see sneak peeks throughout the anime, where Strike the Blood it feels like the enemies are a little bit too random and they just pop out of nowhere. The main reason why this anime is under Strike the Blood, and the thing that really hurts it, is the character development. I also think that the main character in this anime is super bland and doesn't really stand out. The main character also doesn't learn and grow as the story continues. I also think that the anime was too short and it didn't show some of the things that it needed to. For example, the character Donnie Salvatore literally appears out of nowhere saying he fought Godo, but they don't actually show this fight, and it's kind of annoying. The anime only makes one reference in the second episode where Godo states, "For no apparent reason, I became the center of tension, was forced to test my abilities against other Campione." So if you don't notice this small line and remember it, you get really confused, and it took me a while to actually figure out what the fuck was going on. And for the longest time, I actually thought that I missed an episode. I think if this anime came out with another season, it would be great. But since the anime wasn't too popular and nothing has been said since its release in 2012, it's super unlikely. The 7th anime on this list is Strike the Blood. I already talked about some of the things I didn't like when I was comparing it to Campione, like the use of the familiars. I think it would have been better if they had more limitations, so he would have to use his familiars more wisely and think more about how he fights rather than just throwing up his fist and him ramming his familiars into everyone over and over again. This anime also feels like for every fight, Koju does the same thing over and over again. Even though it is kind of repetitive, I still like that Koju grows with every fight, even if it's only him gaining a new familiar. He also grows from someone who avoids his power to someone that helps and uses it to protect the people around him. Characters and the character development really save this anime, and I think the appearance of the main character Koju really stands out, and the supporting characters around him. The anime also kind of has a mystery around the main character where you want to find out what happened in his past and what led him to becoming the 4th primogenitor. This anime is still airing and is on the 3rd season. Of course, I hope they explain more that they didn't in the previous seasons. There was also weird inconsistencies in the 2nd season near the end where they skipped over fights for no reason. This happened twice, which is really weird. Anime also sometimes has clips after the credits, so make sure to watch out for that. Anime that takes the 6th spot is Trinity 7. Now, this anime has unique graphics in terms of how the school looks, which I really like since most schools in anime are pretty much the same thing, so it's refreshing that they changed it up. Of course, it is a magic school, technically, so they should have done something a little bit different. Of course, the plot doesn't seem that unique and reminds me of other anime like Demon King Daimao. I feel like what makes this anime good is the mystery behind it, like the world they live in. I'm also curious to see what happens in the future of the anime, since they did tease something near the end of the 1st season. I won't say it because I don't want to spoil it, but I'm definitely excited to see what happens in the 2nd season. The 2nd season is going to start airing April 11th, 2019. Unfortunately, this anime isn't complete, and so it's kind of hard to place, since the 2nd season will determine if the anime is really good or really bad. This anime also has a good antagonist, with a good purpose / goal behind them, which you will find out if you watch the anime. And it definitely surprised me what the antagonist's goal was, and I think the 2nd season will be a lot better than the 1st. Character development also seems promising as you find out more about the Trinity Seven and how their relationship with Arata, the main character, progresses, and how he learns to develop his powers as the Demon Lord candidate. 5th anime is This a Zombie? It's a comedy and it's pretty funny. It's made me laugh my ass off more than once, and it does make fun of a lot of other animes in the process. It does have action in the anime, but you shouldn't watch the anime for the action, but rather for the comedy. It's also a little bit gory, so if you're sensitive to that, you should probably watch out. Anime is probably the most random anime on this list, which makes it kind of enjoyable. Number 4, we have Heaven's Lost Property. Now this is also a comedy, and it's honestly pretty funny. Now this is one of the few anime that I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would recommend that you watch this in dub rather than sub. Now I know what you must be thinking. Usually dub is pretty horrible. I mean, no one can really forget the horrible impressions dub made with the One Piece dub. After comparing the two, I think the dub sounds better on the main character, Tomoki, and his perverted funny nature. It also sounds like the Japanese version is trying too hard and they just can't do it. I'm going to go ahead and play both versions for you to listen to.
Master? Yes! Everywhere I want to go is mine! The world is mine for the taking! Oh. Let's keep moving!
Master?
どうだ走ったところが俺の領土世界は俺のものどんどん行っちゃえ
I am king of the world! Your panties are mine!
俺様ザワールド召し取ったれ
The third anime is Date Alive. Now, before I watched the anime, I thought it would be pretty bad, but I was pleasantly surprised that it was a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought this anime would be more like To Love Ru, which I couldn't finish watching because of how bad it was. But it's definitely better. I think the characters aren't too bad. I'm definitely curious to see what Kodori and Shuta's past are, and how certain events unfolded to lead to the current present. Now, I don't want to say too much to spoil, so I'll leave it at that. Something that definitely kind of hooked me was how the world viewed these spirits and how they tried to eliminate them, and how the protagonist Shiru learned the true nature of these spirits and how he tries to save them. I think what makes this anime interesting is the mystery behind the space quakes and the spirits from different dimensions. I currently only watched the first season, so hopefully there's more information about it in the newer episodes. Near the end of the season it gets pretty gory, so if you're sensitive to that stuff, make sure to be careful. This anime is also one of the few that has parts after the credits in some of the episodes, so make sure to pay attention. The second anime is Demon King Daimao. Now, I know most people won't agree with this decision, but I really enjoyed the anime more than the ones below it. Now, don't get me wrong, it's far from being perfect, but I enjoyed the art style and I thought it was pretty cool with unique graphics like this and this. I also found the plot kind of enjoyable, where you have the protagonist Sayakuto trying to make the world a better place through his ideals by becoming the highest ranked priest, and ends up becoming the total opposite, still accomplishing his goal by becoming the Demon King. He slowly figures out his destiny and how his ideals actually line up against the world. As the story progresses, he realizes he can't fight his fate. Don't get me wrong, this anime could have been so much better. The flow wasn't too good, especially around the end. It definitely felt way too rushed. I also don't think the end was as satisfying as it should have been. There's also massive character inconsistencies. I also think that Sayakuto should have eased more into his power. If the show was longer with the protagonist learning how to use his powers through trial and error and a better antagonist, the anime revealing more about the world around them and the previous history with the Demon King, the anime would be a lot better and more enjoyable. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone knew that this was coming, so the anime that takes the #1 spot is The King of Harem, High School DxD, or as I like to call it, High School Double D X-rated. This was the most enjoyable anime for me to watch in the harem category, from it having good plot to good characters. It also had a good art style and a little bit too much fan service, but it still kind of complements the main character in his perverted nature. During this anime, you get to see the protagonist Issei grow as a character, learning more about the world with demons, angels, and fallen angels, and how his sacred gear works. It also sets a good potential antagonist, which would be the White Dragon, who sides with the fallen angels as the Red Dragon's arch rival. It also has clips after the credits, so make sure to check to see if it looks like the credits are rolling in early. That's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you disagree with me, make sure to leave your opinion in the comment section. If you didn't like the video, give it a dislike and put your reason in the comment section. I will reply to all of them. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to see my future videos.